Estamos começando mais um vídeo aqui no canal da Bi e vamos te levar para um destino do outro lado do mundo, o Japão. Conversei com o Oscar, da GenkiJACS, uma escola de japonês maravilhosa. Vamos conhecer os destinos que eles oferecem, como é o dia a dia nas aulas, as atividades culturais e tudo o que torna a experiência de estudar japonês tão especial. Fique com a gente!
Oscar, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about Japan. And to start off, could you tell us a bit more about the main destinations that you offer?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me here. It's my pleasure. I'm gonna try to explain all what we offer, how good Japan is. But first of all, okay, so we are a boutique type school. So we are a small school, so with small classes with maximum 80 students per class, and we are located in 5 of the best locations of Japan. So our first location is Tokyo, which it doesn't need any introduction. It's the capital of Japan, the city that never sleeps. You have everything open 24 hours, so it doesn't matter what time of the day you will be able to buy something, eat something, or have fun. And it's the modern Japan. So you have some temples, you have some cultural arts in Tokyo, but it's mostly near. Then after that we have Kyoto, that is the old capital. So many Japanese in that area believe the real capital, the thing like this, and it's completely different. First of all, Kyoto was the only city, the big city in Japan that wasn't bombed during the Second World War by the US, so it's intact. And you feel it. I mean, you have it's the best combination between modernity and tradition. That you have, so all the temples are intact. So you have all the modernity of a city. So you have all department stores, all the things that are comfortable for a city. But you have all the temples in the middle of the city, like with castles, with temples in the mountain. There's a temple that you go up to the mountain through really like the old streets of Japan, and then in the top of it, you can see all the city from it. So it's full of trees that mostly in autumn, it's very famous, Kyoto in autumn, because of the red colors of the leaves, the tree leaves. So that's it's called Koyo, and yeah, it's very, very beautiful. Then after that we have Nagoya, which is it's very famous for foreigners, but not for Japanese. So it's
really?
Something funny, yeah. So if you ask Japanese people what is in Nagoya, they will say like, nah, nice food. That's the only thing they will say. There's nothing else. It's like, and you're like, what? But for foreigners, it's very popular because you have Legoland there. You also have the Ghibli Museum that before there was only one in Tokyo that always full and you have to book it very in advance. But now the Ghibli Museum has also one in Nagoya. So that's also a very attractive destination for fans for the Ghibli studio. Also you have a castle, you have a lot of historical areas because Nagoya is the land, it's in the prefecture of Aichi, it's the capital of the prefecture, and Aichi was the land of the samurai, basically. All the strongest samurais and the 3 daimyos that unified Japan were all from that area. So it's very historical, and if they like the samurai history, that it's very attractive. And it's a city that is more. It was originally industrial city because you have Toyota was born there, and you have the Toyota headquarters there. But now it's getting more and more modern. You have the center of the city. You have a lot of skyscrapers with big department stores, very modern, and they have their own pop culture as well. And the food is amazing as well.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. They are right with that. The most famous is more like a fried Japanese food, and also eel, like unagi, that in the Japanese way. So that's very particular. Then after that, to summarize a little bit, after that we have Fukuoka. That is where we started. So Fukuoka was where Genki was born in 2005, and Fukuoka is a mixture of cultures, basically, because it's in the island of Kyushu. It's the capital of the island of Kyushu that is in the south. So Japan has 4 main islands, and Kyushu is the one in the south. And it was originally the point of contact between Japan, Korea, and China. In fact, if you take a ferry from Fukuoka, in 1 hour you are in Busan. That is the second biggest city in Korea. So, and you feel it in the food, for example. The food is quite mixed, and for people that love ramen, that's the ramen paradise. So ramen originally is from China, but the best ramen in the world is in Japan, and the best ramen in Japan is in Fukuoka. So if you have full streets of ramen places. It's really, I love ramen, and every time I go to Fukuoka, my first night is my ramen and Japanese beer. So that's inevitable.
Now I have to go to try the best ramen in the world.
Exactly, you have to, and also the cuisine is very quite extent, and also it's cheaper than other places in Japan. So it's still like it's a city that is 1.5 million inhabitants. So it's not. I mean, in many places it wouldn't be a small city. In Japan, it's a medium city, but you have the best way to describe Fukuoka is that you have the advantages of a city, but not the disadvantages of a big city. So people are more relaxed. You have everything you need, but the distances are shorter. The international airport is in the city, so you arrive from an international flight that there are many, and you get to the subway, and in 5 minutes you are in the main station.
That's
from that station, we are 5 minutes by walk away. So we are very well situated. So Fukuoka is very popular for long-term students because it's how easy it is to live there, and it's way cheaper than Tokyo. And you will be able to go to Tokyo anyway because you have flights every 5-10 minutes from Fukuoka airport to Tokyo airports. So it's 2 hours more or less. So you have a low cost of company. So it's very well connected to the city and getting more and more popular. And finally, from this year we are in Okinawa, in the city of Naha, that is the capital of Okinawa. And Okinawa, the best way to describe it is like the Hawaii of Japan. So it's for people that they want paradise basically and nature, because you don't only have the beautiful beaches, you also have in the middle of the island you have a lot of nature, mountains, waterfalls. So it's really like the Hawaii of Japan. And also it's very appropriate for students that they don't want to be cold during the winter, because it's always like quite a stable temperature. It doesn't go below 18 degrees in winter. So yeah, and there's a lot of things to do. In that school, we do offer an extra program that is marine and nature activities, where they can do scuba diving, take a ferry and go to visit the Virgin Islands, go to kayaking in the river inside the island. So it's very like for people they like the sea, the nature, and these kind of activities. So that as a very fast summary of what every city can offer.
And there are so many good options. I would like to visit all those cities, and I'm sure our students would like to go as well.
Yeah. I mean, they already, this summer they tried it. They were very happy in Tokyo location. So yeah, it's really, Japan is really a welcoming country. You have to think that Japan is one of the safest countries in the world as well. Everything is clean. Everything works well. The trains are on time. So it's very comfortable. I mean, as a tourist, it's the best country in the world. As a student, it's also the best country in the world. It's a very nice country, and Japanese are very, very welcome. Yeah.
That's great to know. And now, speaking of studying, could you share more about the school itself and some of its unique features that really set it apart from other schools?
Absolutely. Well, just to give a little bit of background, in the past in Japan, most of the Japanese language schools, they were focused on academic Japanese only. So they weren't practicing any speaking, and they had like big classes, like 20, 25 students per class. And they were basically kind of like pathways to universities in Japan. So regarding nationalities, it would be like 90% Asian, because Asian normally they want to go to the university in Japan. They don't really want to communicate that much. But in case of Western, what we call Westerners, Europe, all America, North and South, Australia, New Zealand, we want to be able to speak. I mean, we want to learn the language to communicate in the country. So there was a lack of schools that were offering a specific curriculum adapted to Westerners, basically. So that's why Genki was born. So Genki was born because to offer this kind of service. That's why our classes are small, a maximum 80 students per class. That's to be able to practice conversation in the class. So it's kind of like a round table, everyone facing each other. So it's impossible to fall asleep. And then it's like, it's communication focused. So basically it's 4 lessons per day, Monday to Friday. And of the 4 lessons, 2 lessons will be grammar learning. And then the other 2 lessons, 4 skills practice. So grammar, reading, listening, and speaking, with more focus on listening and speaking. So from 0, they will practice speaking. So the intention is for our students to be able to start speaking as soon as possible. Because once you are able to speak, you're also willing to learn the difficult Chinese characters, the more difficult grammar. You're more motivated by it. And after 1 month, they can start having some basic conversations. And then they realize, oh, that's not that difficult. Then other times, like, okay, give me more. Another time we start introducing the difficult stuff, we're gonna say. And that's why our school has students, they are really good at speaking. So their level of speaking, for example, in intermediate might be advanced in other schools, because we really push that. Our intention is like what they learn at the school to be able to use it outside right away, and to practice it, and to be able to move around Japan as soon as possible. Also, in terms of, because we are not a massive school, the customer service is way better. It's more personalized. So our staff normally knows almost all students. It's not like big schools that the staff don't know everyone. No, here we know everyone. And the staff, they all speak English. They are very warm, and they try to help as much as possible. So every student can go to the reception with any kind of problem, and they will get help right away, and even more. And the teachers also very caring. Our teachers are our best asset. We only have the best qualified teachers. So we are really, really focused on quality. And that's what our students value the most: the quality of our teachers and the support of our staff. So that's what
perfect.
What
the perfect combination.
Exactly. So like this, summarizing our strong points. After, besides the class, the regular Japanese classes, we also have a cultural module that is different per location. So, for example, in Tokyo, the cultural model will be more pop culture. So manga, drawing, cosplay with a professional cosplayer. So this kind of thing that more new culture of Japan. In Kyoto, it will be more the traditional. So calligraphy, tea ceremony, dressing with the kimono or the traditional yukata with a professional, including the shoes, the wood shoes, traditional one, and go to the streets of Kyoto, the traditional ones with those clothes and taking photos. So it's more like to feel cool. That's very cool. That's very popular. The tradition of Japan. For foodies, I have to say that, for example, Tokyo is the city in the world with the most Michelin stars.
Really? I had no idea.
Yes. So, and Kyoto, I think, is the second or third. So it's like the quality of cuisine in Japan is super high. So for foodies, they need to know that. So
the best destination.
Exactly. And regarding the cultural model, Okinawa is more is traditional, but a combination of traditional culture of Japan, of the mainland Japan, and traditional culture of Okinawa Island. Because Okinawa was a free kingdom for a while, so they also have their own traditional culture, and we also try to teach it with using those models. So those models, cultural model is completely optional. But if they want to have that experience, normally it's around 6 hours on Saturdays, and these are a 4-week schedule that they can join. On top of that, for students that they still don't have enough with the 20 lessons per week, they want to study more, there's a conversation module as well. So it's for extra practice conversation, and those classes are smaller, like 5-6 students per class, and what they practice depends on their level. So if they are basic level, they will practice more like real situations, like how to order in a restaurant, how to book a hotel, these kind of things. But if they are more advanced, they will do debates. We might do job interviews, trials. So it's all adapted to their level, and that's 4 extra lessons per week. So if they take that, it will be 24 lessons combined with the standard course. And as I mentioned before, in Okinawa, we have as extra the marine activities module, which is for adventurous people, and they love the sea, basically. In Okinawa, they can also see whales. They can see the Okinawa turtles that are very cute. They are living in the sea. And when they do scuba diving or snorkeling, the number of fish they can see is amazing. It's and very clear seas. So it's like, yeah, it's for people that love nature and paradise, basically. In accommodation, we have homestay. Host families in Japan are very nice. So Japanese people, actually, they are very surprised sometimes for us to have so many people learning Japanese, because if you think about it, it's only spoken in Japan. Of course, there are so many companies abroad that are very strong Japanese companies and you need Japanese, but in general, you think about it only in Japan. So they're always surprised and very grateful for that. So they will show you the best of Japan and do their best to give you the best experience. And also I have to say that homemade food is very nice in Japan. It's great. And so they can have homestays for people they really want to have the full experience, full package. So learning the language at the school, having cultural activities and studies they want, but also living a Japanese host family to see how the Japanese life looks like. Then for people that want more privacy, we have something called private residence. That is a private room in a share house or guest house. So they will have their own private room, and then share the rest of the facilities like kitchen, living room, toilets, showers. At those residences, there will be other students of the school, other school students, and Japanese young workers, Japanese university students. So it's not only our students there. And finally, for the ones that they really, really want 100% privacy, there's private apartment. Private apartment, I have to say, apartment sizes in Japan are small. So I would say it's a studio type. But in Japan, they don't call it studio, they call it apartment, but because it's normal, mostly in Tokyo. So it's 20 to 24 square meters. So it's basically, to give you an idea, it's a one room with a little kitchenette and a small balcony and then a small shower and toilet. So it's kind of, it's small, but it's okay for one person. And that one is the one for people that they want to 100% privacy after the school.
Another thing people are always curious about is the mix of nationalities. So which nationalities do you usually welcome at the schools?
So in 1 year, we have around 60 different nationalities, 90% Westerners. So I have to say that from Asia, we only have from Korea, from Taiwan, sometimes Thai, some students, but mostly they are Westerners. So, and I would say the top 5 nationalities are US, France, German, Switzerland, and UK. Those ones are the top 5. We have a big range of ages. So sometimes we have a 18-year-old studying, having in a class a 17-year-old lady studying Japanese with the same motivation. So that's what we like. This thing is kind of like a family. So we have different ages, different nationalities, different types of students, but they all study together and get along together. That's the good thing of the Genki school.
And do you also offer a social program, right?
In our case, our activities normally are with university students or Japanese nationals. So that's why we have to do it on demand, because they need, of course, they are very busy. So if you plan something every day and people don't join, it's not good for the Japanese students. So what we do is we have, of course, the first day of classes, they have a tour around the area that to show them what the most important shops, where they can change money, where they can go to the bank. So everything, and we really introduce the area first. Then once a week, we also have a movie night that we put a Japanese movie with English subtitles, and we have free drinks and free popcorn. So that kind of like cinema night. And then on Fridays, there's always the what we call Friday party, that is going to have dinner with normally university students. And if university students are not available at that time, our staff also, Japanese teachers or Japanese staff will go with the students to have dinner, or to go to karaoke. So this kind of activity. So that's what is always set. Then, depending on the season, depending on the week, there will be extra options like going to festivals. Japan is a country of festivals as well, so there are many festivals along the year. Yeah.
Now, the last question. For anyone considering studying in Japan, but still feeling a bit unsure, what advice or perhaps words of encouragement would you give them?
Well, first of all, now it's easier than ever for Brazilians. So, because there's no need of tourist visa anymore.
Yes.
So that's a very big chance right now. So they don't need to worry about visa. So they can go with a valid passport. They can go and be up to 90 days in Japan without any issues. So that's one of the most important things. Second is there's always So worry about the student visa. So if they want to go 1 year, 1 year and a half. In our case, we are the school that is making it the easiest. So we take care of everything. So basically, they only need to fill an online form in English, upload the documents in Portuguese, and we take care of the translations and review everything. So they don't need to do anything else until we get the certificate of eligibility for them to go to the embassy and take the student visa. So if they don't need to be worried about this, it's not scary. It's very easy for the student, and they will be very supported by you and the school. Thinking that it's way easier to go to Japan than what they think. Because sometimes you can feel maybe it's too far, or it's too different culture. But no, I mean, of course, it's a different culture, but it's really based on respect. And as long as you follow the rules, they are common sense rules. Like as long as you follow, you will not have any problem at all, and you will feel very comfortable in Japan. Culturally, they can be a little bit shocked. Is that, for example, Japanese are not touchy people. They don't say by culture. They are, for example, host families. They will be very warm, very kind to you. They will be amazing, but they will not touch you. So that I always like to explain for Brazilians, for any Latin Americans, for Spanish, for Italians, people that we are from cultures that we are more touchy, like hey, that is not like this in Japan. Unless they've been traveling in the world and they've been living in our country, there's no they're not going to hurt you. Even if they are your best friend for many years. For example, in my case, my best friend, we know each other for more than 10 years. But if I hug him, like by mistake, like I forget, he will be completely
surprised,
like this, like, oh my God, he's hugging me. What should I do? It's like, it's not like that. But in Spain, from Spanish, like it's hey, hug all the time. So
of course,
that's the main difference. They need to be aware. But again, it's not like they don't like them. It's the opposite.
It's just different.
It's cultural. So they need to know this culturally. It's not a touchy country. And also, second thing is that always remove your shoes when you enter someone's home. That's vital.
It is.
That's a must. Always. That's one of the worst mistakes you can do when you enter someone's home, not removing the shoes. That's traditionally, it's been like that since, thousands of years. They always remove their shoes to enter the temples, to enter anything that the house. So, and in our case, for example, in the school, you also remove your shoes to enter. So, we try to keep also this tradition to also make
culture,
them learn the culture from the day one. So just saying that, give the chance to Japan and feel the country. You go to the north, it's more cold. You go to the south, it's hotter. You have a different kind of nature, different kinds of foods. But again, the main harmony is through the whole country, and there are so many places to discover.
E aí, gostou de conhecer mais sobre a Genki e o Japão? Se você se interessou pelos destinos, não deixe de conversar com a Bi. O nosso formulário de contato está disponível aqui na descrição deste vídeo. Aproveite também para se inscrever no nosso canal para não perder os próximos vídeos. Tchau!